The following program does not have a normal intro because I was really too busy smoothing other things over to get it done. So, Ori?
Oh, good. Oh, great. Oh, great. That's just perfect. You know, you don't need to see my face today. You don't need to see my face. You don't need to see my face. You know, why have to see my face? Everyone makes a big deal about the face. Everyone does. Why? Why? You know what I look like? You can't picture me talking? Can you talk? Can you picture me talking? I can picture me talking. You can't picture that? You can't picture that? It's much better without my face anyway. I'm very distracting. I have all these facial expressions. It's better without my face. And bad audio? Oh, good. No face, bad audio. Why do we need any of this? Why do I need any of this? Bad audio, bad face. Oh, this is just perfect. Just perfect. Unbelievable. Oh, good Lord. Hold on. So aggravating. There we go. You happy now? Are you happy now? Look at this. Now you see my face. I'm actually really here. It is me. Okay? Now you know it's me. Now you know. Otherwise, you wouldn't have known. Stupid virtual audio. Okay. In case you can't tell. In case you can't tell. I was fasting all day today. So last night I didn't stream because I had streaming connection issues 2 nights ago. And I was like, I'm not doing that again. I called up Spectrum, who provides service here, and they said they'll send someone in the morning. So I was like, all right, let me cancel the stream. I'll hang out with my wife and daughter, and we'll just get to work tomorrow. But today was the Jewish fast day, like all day. It ended at 9 o'clock. I actually slept the last 3 hours of it and woke up like at 9:30. And I was like, oh my God, I got to put together a show. Now, putting together a show is not really crazy hard because my hobby has become to basically spend my life putting together this show. Meaning, as I'm going through my day, I'll sort of take notes on different things and links and share links with myself and put them away and then just sort of be able to just bring them all on out at once. So, for example, if I just show you my screen here, let me just show. You can see along here. Yeah, that's not what I want to share. That's what I want to share. If you look along the top here, you could see all the different links that I've been like. These are all links that I sent to myself through the course of the day that I work my way through during the course of the show. So I was like, all right, you know what? I'll just spin and do. I'll spin and do. So, yeah. I didn't really feel like I had a thematic thing. But then I went back to the links that I did before I took my nap, and I was like, oh, yeah, this is actually really important that Kamala's trying to steal the campaign. I think that's kind of important, right? If a Democrat's trying to steal the presidential campaign, that's kind of important. So we're going to cover that. But first and foremost, what you saw there on that first screen that I was sharing with you was this guy, Michael Steele, former head of the RNC. This guy, former head of the RNC, turned MSNBC contributor, we'll call him. I think that's the right word. That's the right word, right? Contributor. So this was him last week. What a lunatic.
So let's start with last night in the Band-Aid. That's fine. Where I am at this point is it's been 3 days going on 4 since this horrific event occurred. A person lost their life, 2 have been severely injured, and yet we've not received a medical report from the hospital, nor have we received a medical report from the campaign or from the Trump organization about the extent of the damage to his ear. If he was shot by a high caliber bullet, there should probably be very little ear there. And so we'd like to know that. Is there?
It would probably depend on what part of his ear it hit, right? I mean, wouldn't that be part of it? You would think. We'd like to know that.
Cosmetic surgery involved? What is the prognosis for recovery?
If he was shot,
what is the extent and nature of the damage to his ear? Was it caused by a bullet, as opposed to, as some reports from those on the scene, other reporters, saying that it was actually shards of glass from the teleprompter itself, not the bullet?
Shards of glass from someone shooting a teleprompter. This is NBC's delivery of news to you, courtesy of Michael Steele.
So there are a lot of questions around that ear, and yet there's been no response to that. Instead, just showing the image of the man coming into the hall with the wounded ear.
Anyway, so that's Michael Steele. Oh wait, there was the point the reason I wanted to share that with you. Oh, wait a second. This is how low this loser has sunk at this point. Former RNC chair mocked for debasing himself with Kamala Harris as a Captain America image. Embarrassing. MSNBC's Michael Steele was mocked for posting an image of Vice President Kamala Harris as Captain America Tuesday, along with the caption, "Hey, real Donald Trump, you ready for this?" Last week, Steele, the former chair of the RNC, was accused of pushing conspiracy theories when he questioned if former president's ear was actually hit by a high-caliber bullet. This week, he's getting blowback from what critics see as something similarly crazy, glorifying Harris as a Marvel superhero. There you go. That's his tweet. Oh, they try so hard. They try so hard. Oh, they try so hard. Dave Rubin saying, "What happened to you, man? What happened to you?" Oh my God. This lunatic. I actually think that she's more of a DC comic type of gal. I think she's more of a DC comic type of gal, if you ask me, not really Marvel, because this is the image. This is the image that really resonated for me with Kamala right there. I saw that last night, and then I saw the story today with Michael Steele, and I was like, that's quite the contrast there. That is quite the contrast. Oh my God. Anyway, so I wanted to share that. I want to start off a little lightness before we get into the heavy part of our stories. I have a lot of things that I really want to cover with you. The thievery, there's actually 2 different types of thievery that Kamala Harris is accused of engaging in. 2 different types of thievery. We're going to get into both of them. Really different from each other. Very different from each other. Yeah, you wonder. It's a mystery. It's really a mystery. I don't know what happened. How does this happen to people? I worry whether this sort of like going off the deep end is that reflective of that they were always full of hot crap, or is something happen do we have to go to them and show us on the doll where someone from the RNC touched you? I don't know how it is that people go off the deep end like that. If you guys have theories, I'd love to know. I mean, I actually have one other theory. I have one other theory about it. One other theory. Maybe I'll share. So share that now. Check my mic settings. Everyone's very unhappy with my mic. Let me check. Let me change my mic. Is this better? Is this a better mic? Is this any better? It's the same. Is this thing on? Tapping. All right. People saying it's better. How would it be? How would it be louder? How would it be? No, he's saying nope. He's saying that's my audio guy. He's saying nope. It's not the right mic. I only got one more choice. Let's see. I'll change this. I'll change it to the middle one. It's not working at all. Definitely not this one. I need to turn on my mic gain. No. I give. Uncle. You beat me, okay? You beat me, all right? Aren't you proud of yourself? Go celebrate somewhere. Do whatever microphones like to do whenever they're like really, really thrilled. I don't even want to ask questions about that. You beat me. Okay? God. I have no theories why Trump has broken people. I think it will be studied for decades now, i.e. mass formation, psychosis, full effect. I don't think it's Trump. I don't think it's Trump. I don't think it's got anything to do with Trump. What I think it is, I think that historically, there are just some people who like being in the political realm and like the power and the prestige and all that other stuff, and they don't have any morals, values, integrity at all. They have no morals, they have no values, they have no integrity. They're just your classic swamp creature. So a swamp creature is going to attach itself anywhere that will have him or her, and they basically are like, okay, this is the place that is going to elevate me the best. And if it's the Republican side, I'll take the Republican side. If it's the Democrat side, I'll take the Democrat side. And that is the overriding character trait of 9 out of 10 people in Washington. And that's why there's a uniparty, because they don't really care. They don't really care, but they know they have to say something that's edgy, exciting, different, out there, controversial, a la like the way Destiny does with his whole, F the fireman type of stuff. It's all a matter of being pure fluff, knowing that you're useless, and that the only way that you will gain any sort of acclaim, notoriety, or recognition is if you can distinguish yourself by your expressiveness in a way that is whatever that is going to be different from the rest. That's not, but they have no actual character. They have no actual beliefs. They have no actual agenda other than their own self-glorification. And who can help them with that? And whoever can help them with that, they will pay homage to the king and queen and whoever it is and their lords who are basically dispensing power. And that's what Michael Steele is. That's why he became head of the RNC. When they ditched him, he's like, oh, okay, I'm a Democrat now. And I'll latch on there. This is true. 522 of you have not yet hit the like. You think you ate too many more? You sound fine. It's empty room that's giving your voice reverberation. High quality mic would help though. I don't like spending money on a mic. I just want to have good audio. Just for crying out loud, good audio. It could be my room sucks. Trust me, I am here because I love my wife. That is why I'm here. Okay? I'm here because I love my wife. So that's why I'm here. And it's not that this place in general that I'm in is bad. Look at it. You can see it's beautiful. You can see how beautiful it is. No, look at it. It's gorgeous. It happens to actually be a really nice place. It really is. It's just for streaming, the struggle is real. The struggle is real. So you just play as a riff off the piano. That's very funny, Pam. Very, very funny, Pam. Very funny. On JBS News today, they asked, do we finally get a Jew in the White House? It can't be. There is no way. She's not Jewish. That's about her husband. That's about Doug Emhoff. The Gino. Can we get a Gino in there? God. I know he's Jewish because I remember last Hanukkah, there was some sort of stupid collaborative thing that Doug Emhoff and his wife Kamala did, where they were lighting menorah. And I was explaining to my audience who was listening that night how everything a menorah actually stands for is revolted by Doug Emhoff. Everything. It's like most completely twisted thing in the world. It is the utter perversion. Doug Emhoff is like it's almost like a miracle that the entire menorah itself doesn't burst into flames just with the horror being in his presence. The Dems only have 7 years to fully implement their global socialist agenda. That's what's going on in Agenda 2030. Is there really Agenda 2030? Is that actually a thing? Is that actually a thing? You normally use SM58, my SM7B. I need gain at least 50%. I use phantom power as a cloud lifter. I'll just have to super chat more or something. That'll work. If you super chat more, my mic will get better. Almost definitely. I didn't like when RNC he came across as shady. Yeah. Okay. Well, anyway, so let's get into the campaign issues here. There are two different issues. The one you probably heard about. Well, I don't know. You might have heard about none of them. I don't know which ones you heard about. Did you hear about any of them? You guys hear about any of her campaign issues? There's two different issues. So first and foremost, this evening, or late today, the Trump campaign filed an FEC complaint against Harris over her use of Biden's $91.5 million war chest, calling it fraudulent. Interesting. The Trump campaign accused Vice President Kamala Harris on Tuesday. Really? Of engaging in the largest campaign finance violation in American history. In a complaint to the FEC over her attempt to use political donations made to President Biden. Kamala Harris is seeking to perpetrate a $91.5 million heist of Joe Biden's leftover campaign cash, a brazen money gap that would constitute the single largest excessive contribution and biggest violation in the history of the FEC Act of 1971, Trump campaign general counsel David Warrington wrote in a grievance to the FEC. The complaint was filed against Harris. Biden, the 81-year-old president's principal campaign committee, renamed Harris for president on Sunday, and the committee's treasurer. So they renamed, how did they move the money over? They just renamed it as Harris, from Biden for president to Harris for president. It further describes the effort to repurpose the $91.5 million left in Biden's campaign account to Harris as fraudulent and a mockery of our campaign finance laws. Warrington argues there is, quote, no provision in federal campaign finance law for Kamala Harris to take over Joe Biden's candidacy and assume control of his campaign by simply amending forms on file with the FEC. That does seem ridiculous when you phrase it that way. You can simply amend it, you change it to any name you want, and all of a sudden it's yours? That doesn't make any sense. I mean, I understand she's the vice president. And maybe it is different because she was on the ticket with him. Maybe, but she didn't have to be on the ticket with him. When if you think about the primaries that the Democrats conducted, right? It's Joe Biden. It's not Joe Biden and Kamala Harris that was being elected in each of these states. He had every right and ability to change vice presidents. Imagine he decided, I hate Kamala like everyone else in the country, and I don't want her as my vice president anymore. He has the full authority to change who his vice president is. So why would it be different for Vice President Kamala Harris to assume Biden's campaign funds than anybody else? It's not like he officially designated her as his vice president. She's the currently serving vice president. What does that have to do with her assuming his election war chest, his re-election war chest? I think it's a reasonable question to be asking. He also claims that Harris is ineligible to inherit Biden's war chest because she did not file a statement of candidacy designating Biden for president as one of her authorized committees. The complaint refers to Harris as, quote, separate individual candidate competing for the Democratic Party's nomination in reasoning that the transfer of funds amounts to a, quote, massive excessive contribution from Biden for president to the vice president. It actually seems like a reasonable question. Now, I'm not going to tell you that this couldn't theoretically be remedied with just filling out some forms. That is possible, because frankly, federal election law is something that I still struggle with, as do I think most people. I know I'm an attorney, so you say, Joe, you're an attorney, you're supposed to know everything about the law. But this is an area where I am pleading to your ignorance, unfortunately. The commission must immediately find reason to believe and quickly end this ongoing violation, Warrington's letter concludes. Harris' campaign spokesperson, Charles Lutvak, called the complaint baseless. Team Harris will continue to build on our more than 250 coordinated offices and more than 1,300 coordinated staffers across the battleground states, just like we built on the $240 million cash on hand that we had at launch this week, raising $100 million our first 36 hours and signing up 58,000 volunteers. We're going to talk about the $100 million. That's the next part. Because did she really though? Did she really raise $100 million? Did she? We're gonna talk about that. We're gonna come to that very soon. Very, very soon. Did she? Or was that another way that she tried breaking federal election law? We're gonna see. Quote, Republicans may be jealous that Democrats are energized to defeat Donald Trump and his MAGA allies with baseless legal claims like the ones they made for years to try and suppress votes and steal elections will only distract them while we sign up volunteers, talk to voters, and win this election, he added. Yeah, you got this. You run, baby. You run. A Harris campaign official also claimed that the various Biden fundraising committees have always been authorized committees for both the president and vice president are the same other than name change. Well, I don't know. Okay, but is she on his re-election? How is she part of the re-election? It seems really weird. She's not part of his ticket yet. She never will be part of his ticket. FEC Chairman Sean Cooksey, an appointee of former President Donald Trump, told NPR on Monday that the unprecedented nature of Biden handing Harris the keys to his campaign war chest may prove complicated and spark legal challenges. Let's look at what he said. New article from the Post. This is an article from. Did I mess up? I might have messed up. Is this it? What was wrong with it? I think it's going to have to go through a process through the FEC, Cooksey said. I expect there's probably going to be challenges. To that agency and probably in the courts as well. However, Cooksey's predecessor, Democratic FEC Commissioner Dara Lindenbaum, has asserted that Harris is entitled to the campaign funds. Quote, "It's quite clear Vice President Harris can continue using the campaign committee and its funds," Lindenbaum told The Hill on Monday. If Harris does not end up securing the Democratic nomination president, or if she's deemed ineligible to receive the funds, the money could be transferred to the DNC or a super PAC aligned with the eventual nominee. Really? Really? I always wondered what happens to the money that doesn't get used. Because there's millions of dollars that's sitting there. They're not going to return it. There has to be some sort of guidelines as to what happens to it. If Biden died, what would happen to this money? There has to be some sort of guidelines that the FEC has in mind as to where the funds goes. An Associated Press survey of delegates Monday determined the vice president currently has the support of enough delegates to clinch the nomination. That's nice. How nice for her. Look, there has to be some sort of way that this money can be used by the DNC. It's not going to be returned. So then the question becomes, who uses it? Frankly, at the end of the day, I'm confident that she's going to end up being entitled to use that money. Excuse me. I'm confident that she will be able to use it at the end of the day. But it is an interesting legal question as to what happens to the money. Let's say she decides she didn't want to run for president. Like, does that money just go into a vault somewhere? I mean, that doesn't make any sense. Yet at the same time, you don't want people to be able to raise money for a campaign and then drop out of the campaign and keep the money. So I'm not sure. Pam! We all need to just stop it, stop it, stop it! God is in charge. Amen. Amen. Thank you for the generous chat. Joe, look up Agenda 2030 on the UN's website. Agenda 2030. Sustainable Development Goals? Oh my God. Why? Why do people, it's like people try to depress me. This is there. 17 interconnected global objectives. No poverty, zero hunger, good health and well-being, quality education, gender equality, clean water and sanitation, affordable and clean energy. Okay. Life on land. I don't even know what that means. Life below water. Climate action, peace, justice, and strong institutions. Partnership for the goals. All right, at the risk of getting some of you afraid that all of a sudden I'm going Michael Steele on you, I'm definitely not. So I want to be very clear about this. I just want you to mull something over in your brain. Just mull something over in your brain for a moment. Okay? Because I see stuff like this, and like you, I get horrified because I know the systems that are, the systems that is, the people that, the slimy people who are overseeing these systems. I'm not going Michael Steele on you, relax. I know that they're completely dishonest, self-interested, horrible, horrible people. The question is this, and maybe this is a stupid question. Maybe this is a stupid question. In every science fiction futuristic movie that we're looking at, there's one of two possibilities for the world. Invariably, anything that's set more than a century in the future, there's one of two possibilities for society in these futuristic envisions. Okay, I'm just pulling this aside for a second, and I just want you to consider this. And if you think about it, you'll see. I think you'll see I'm right. Invariably, they are either society are all either like universally cohesive, or they're post-apocalyptic, right? And there's just mayhem everywhere. I mean, I guess Star Wars is a different universe, but you can sort of look at that as being like, an ongoing clash that can't really be categorized as either. But assuming that there was some sort of way of there being a global type of cohesiveness, is that even, like, how would such a thing come about? The reason I'm bringing up in the context of this conversation, just because I'm sort of trying to prick your brain a little bit here. That's what they're trying to portray this as. And do I trust the UN? Oh, hell no! They're full of crap. They're completely terrible, awful agency. Do I trust the WEF? No. These are a bunch of rich guys who basically want the world to basically be under their thumb, and trying to figure out how they can wield even greater levers of power than they already have access to. So no, I don't think it's going to necessarily come from rich people, wealthy multinational corporations. I know that those are completely untrustworthy. I'm just wondering how it is that the world ever would reach such a plateau. How would that ever come about? This is probably a better discussion to have on viewers' discretion. Because now I'm just supposed to be talking about politics. I'm not supposed to be getting all philosophical with you. The Kimmy joke pricked my brain. It just pricked my brain. Like, how would that come about? Because everyone would assume the way it would come about is it would commence with something like this crap. And I know that this is crap. I know this is terrible. I don't have to read down to the pages and pages of their pitch for how the world's going to be a better utopia. I don't know. Maybe it only results when there are other aliens around, and you're like, okay, we humans kind of have to stick together. We humans have to stick together. Maybe that's how that comes about. Maybe it's a messianic age. I don't know. Short of a messianic age, or there being some sort of alien invasion, I don't see the worldwide, I don't see a healthy environment that is global. I'm sorry for getting so, you'll probably look at me like I'm crazy. You're not going to get this on any other show. So where else are you going to have this kind of conversation? Seriously, where else are you going to have this kind of conversation? I'm simply talking about the transitive steps to get from where we are at in theory, the transitive steps to get from where we are at today to that healthy, futuristic world that everyone's always envisioning in these futuristic movies that are supposedly, you know, oh yeah, that's once humanity reaches its enlightenment and it gets there. And my question is, I don't see where these transitive steps come along, because anytime anything that purports to be one of those transitive steps, and it's supposed to be something like that, invariably it looks like this. And I recoil in horror because I recognize that, no, this is just evil people being evil. But I don't see what other steps are going to get us to that, and that short of something like this. And that's what I'm very frustrated by, because frankly, there should be a way for people to just be normal. I don't know. Let me get this straight. Are you all thinking I'm a... There has to be an answer to this question. Let me make sure I didn't say rants before I start going through super chats. Hundreds of billions of taxpayer dollars funneled into Ukraine. The known money laundering armpit of the world. Audit every penny. Half went missing. Oh, I heard 70% went missing. I think you're being generous to our accounting when you say half. Snuggle struggle. Snuggle struggle. Owner of the best name I've ever seen. Drop Barracuda. This hit me earlier today. Why would the Pew Pew guy in Pennsylvania have both a car with big bada booms in it, but also a bicycle? I don't understand anything that's happening with the car. The whole car thing makes no sense to me. Why would he be trying to blow up his own car? What is the scenario where he's like, I'm going to be blowing up the car? Someone walk me through this. When I saw that, from the moment I heard about bombs in his car, I'm like, none of this makes any sense. He's planning that he's gonna shoot Trump and then go to blow up his car as what? A diversion to get away? Like, what is the thought process here? To kill it, to self-delete? What is the thought process? I don't understand anything about it. And then you have the whole bicycle element. I don't know. Do you carry the Pew Pew a bag, a ladder on the bike? Where is the bag also? Is he walking around with an AR-15? Is he really walking around with an AR-15 around Secret Service? Like, how does that happen? It's not like something you can just shove in the front of your pants there. So where's the bag? I mean, he died, so he didn't take the bag with him. Where's the bag? They show us the phone. They show us the little garage opener thing. Where's the bag? Supposedly he didn't end up using the ladder. Did all that fit in the car? I mean, I guess it's a short ladder that's extendable. You can put that in a car. None of this is making any sense. None of it. None of it. Standard Democrat changed names and meaning words to make law fit. Yeah, that's kind of what they're doing here. That's a great call. Only way T-List to come is literally grab her during the debate, and then only maybe. Yeah, I have a feeling he's going to win this thing pretty sure. Pretty sure. Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good about it right now. I'm not going to catch it. But we have to press hard as if we're losing, as if it's neck and neck. Not sure Biden even knows he stepped aside yet. Joe and Jill are AWOL, supposedly medical emergency, and now Americans are left in the dark. Coup? Okay. You're kind of nailing the like two different segments of my show with a $5 super chat here. Snuggle struggle. You're kind of nailing it because I planned on talking about his medical condition. He is speaking tomorrow at 8 o'clock. I plan on airing that live. I'm going to be here with you live, watching his statement. I don't know what we're going to do after that because I have a feeling the statement's going to be 3 minutes long. I have a feeling it's going to be 3 minutes long. And they're gonna be like, he's like, oh, I had a great time, and you know, we accomplished so much, and we have to defeat Donald Trump in November, and Kamala is the person who will lead America into a rosier future, or some stupid thing like that. But yeah, I mean, just to hit on what you're saying here, physician to the president of the White House put this out. He put this out. Karine Jean-Pierre, Assistant President, White House, that's a memorandum for KJP from Kevin O'Connor, the doctor, physician to the president. What he writes here, is like no COVID I've ever heard of. Now, I'm no medical expert. I know nothing about medicine. As you all know, I kind of think that, I mean, my understanding of medicine is that only doctors can ever understand anything about medicine. YouTube wants me to tell you that nobody but a doctor understands anything about science ever, and that none of us can ask questions about it because that is completely unscientific. So if you want to know anything about medicine, science, or anything science-y or health-related, you must talk to your doctor. That's what YouTube wants me to tell you, and I am. So I don't know anything about that, but this is what one doctor said. Not me, I don't know, but supposedly a doctor said. I assume he's a doctor. I mean, I'm pretty sure he is. No. And he writes, the president's symptoms have resolved. This was yesterday. Over the course of his infection, he never manifested a fever, so there's no fever. His vital signs remained normal. Okay. To include pulse oximetry. Oximetry. I don't know what that is because I'm not a doctor. His lungs remained clear. Binax rapid antigen testing is negative. Negative when you're testing for something is usually a good thing, I assume. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I don't know. He will continue to be monitored for any recurrence of illness. President continues to perform all his presidential duties to the extent that he was before. As always, I'll continue to keep your office updated with any changes in his condition or treatment plan. Respectfully submitted, Kevin O'Connor, DOFAAFP. So wait, where's the illness? What was wrong with him? What were his symptoms? He never had a fever. His vital signs were always good. Maybe this was, you know, and again, I'm not a doctor, but I kind of speculate that maybe this is some variant called chicken coof. It's a chicken coof, where the only manifestation that you have the disease is that when you ask questions, a yellow stream of liquid flows down your leg. So, sometimes called yellow coof. I don't know. Again, I'm not a doctor. I don't even know if that's a real thing. I don't know if chicken coof is a real thing or yellow coof is a real thing, but maybe those are because I don't see any other symptoms. There's no other symptoms that they're really identifying here to help us clarify what made you think he was sick. What made you think where here is pulse? What is? I need to see what pulse oximetry means. Does that mean something? It's gotta mean something, right? Wait. He knows someone's gonna look this up. Oximetry. Oximetry is a non-invasive method for measuring the amount of oxygen in a person's blood. To monitor breathing and heart rate. I don't know. That's not me saying that. I don't want you to think that I'm trying to speculate. That's what Google says. I don't know. YouTube wants me to tell you I don't know anything, and I am. So there you go. Apparently, there was some kind of something that required some sort of thing that they can't tell us what symptoms he had. Like, was there a cough? Was there sneezy? Did he have headaches? Like, all they told us is he never manifested fever. His vital signs remain normal. How is that? How is this different from any other day of his life? Like this illness period. That's really what I want. It's not even a joke. I'm really like if you're trying to say that, are they going to say like, well, who knew how do they figure out he had anything wrong with him? Was it that he was walking slow? Is that what it was? Was it that he was very cautious in the way he had to walk? Is that what made you think that he had illness? I don't understand anything that's happening here. Maybe some of you know better than I do. That's possible. Maybe some of you know better. Anyway, so that was a medical emergency. I'm going to talk a little later about the potential for a coup here. Don't worry, Joe Biden will make it all clear tomorrow so you can understand. I'm sure you Kamala raised money from those who donated to Joe. That's the point. That's the point. That she took his money, his war chest, and Trump filed an FEC complaint over it saying, why are you entitled exactly to his war chest? How does that work? They'll give Kamala a fine paid by campaign funds in 2 to 6 years. Yeah, seriously. You know who would know? The guy who they would let testify in Trump's New York trial, Brad Smith. Oh, that's true. I gotta get a hold of me. I gotta get a hold of Brad Smith. Now I'm a big time guy. I can get a hold of these people. I'll be like, hey, I got a YouTube channel with 100,000 subs. You gotta come on now. For the longest, for like a year and a half, I was at 87,000 subs. I was a schnook and nobody. But now I'm the big time. I'm a big time guy. I'm very big time. I'm very, very big time now. Look, if it helps me get guests, I'll take it. Hey Joe, where you going with that legal pen in your hand? Times are crazy now. I look for your clarity. Explain me, Mr. Entry. I'm doing my best. I'm trying to help you understand what's happening in the world here. I'm trying to figure that out with you. So Agenda 2030 is left Agenda 2025. Yes, both sides have ideas. Paris Climate Accord is how this starts. That's what the Green New Deal is about, and the FDA approved the sale of lab meat already. God, lab meat. What is lab meat? What is lab meat? What is that? God. Always trying to reinvent some new way of taking something so basic and good and turning it into something. No, we have to change that. This, which was good in your life for thousands of years for society, that's what needs to be different now, because we're going to make that better. Like food. No, you all been surviving for thousands of years. Let's FA, because we definitely ain't gonna FO if we FA with your food. We're gonna FA with your food, and you're gonna love it. It's gonna be great. It's your food. We're gonna FA with it. Why? I believe Biden is a case of candidate openly vocalizes incoherent dialogue. I see what you did there. The bomb aspect would be a dust prior to, but that never happened. So why did he hit the button and it didn't work? Was he like Joker in The Dark Knight, where he's walking away and he's like hitting the button and it's not going off? And then finally, like all of a sudden, and he's like, oh, all right. Is that what Thomas Crooks was? He's like click, click, click. Apparently, by the way, that moment in The Dark Knight was actually a glitch. It was supposed to go off and it didn't. And he did that and they loved it. So they left it in there. It became an iconic moment. Heath Ledger dropped there as Joker in Dark Knight. Is that what happened? Thomas Crook, he pushed the button, nothing happened? How do you get a van, car, and bike in one place? Hell, I don't know. You're the helicopter guru. Maybe someone who got transported in that way. Wait, he had a van and a car? I don't know. We don't know the story. I don't know when we're going to know the story. Boom Boom and car was possible diversion, but when he's seen lack security, no need for distraction, Pew Pew breaks down easy to short hearts. Maybe. Currently working as an English teacher in Japan, the kids are being taught about SDGs. My schools have books and posters about SDGs. Japan bought into the SDG stuff pretty stupidly. SDG, that was the acronym for Sustainable Development Goals, that the UN had 17 of them. What is this doing? Cheetle, who was fired today. I don't even have that lined up in my queue for today. But it was definitely Biden hire. Kamala will start firing every Biden hire. Why do you think she's going to fire anyone? Why? Why would you think that? Isn't it bizarre how it all, by the way, the whole Kimberly Cheetle thing, she was fired today in case you missed, or she didn't fire, she resigned. She resigned today. So isn't it weird that her boss is Mayorkas, the same guy that the Senate refuses to conduct impeachment hearings for? Isn't that bizarre? Isn't that utterly bizarre? How it's like, and I think that's something that senators should be using. In fact, that could actually be technically brought against, you can even use that against Kamala. The fact that they never bothered moving forward with the impeachment proceedings against Mayorkas. They never went forward with that. Well, I'm wondering, did Mike Johnson fail to bring it to the House, to the Senate? But they still, I mean, from my recollection, dude was impeached. And there's never been any Senate hearing about it yet. And he's the boss of Kimberly Cheetle. That's who she reports to, Mayorkas. There's got to be a way to use this against Kamala. There has to be a way. They released the suit guy on the roof video. And he seems to imply there was a second suspect detained and a group of people detained. What? The suit guy on the roof video? Who's the suit guy? I'm not sure what you're referring to here, Alan. The suit guy. BLM came out against Harris and the DNC as a whole. I can't wait until 2020 and all this ends. All this is exhausting. Did they really come out against her? She was the one telling them all to march, march, march. We'll keep bailing you out. Now I gotta see. Wow. I missed this. I'm so glad you brought this to my attention. This is great. Oh, this is so good. Oh, so good. Thank you, Eric. Thank you for calling this to my attention. This is great. Let's check this out. Black Lives Matter calls for the DNC to host a virtual snap primary. BLM demands that the Democratic National Committee immediately host an informal virtual snap primary across the country prior to the DNC convention in August. We call for the Rules Committee to create a process that allows for public participation in the nomination process, not just the nomination by party delegates. The current political landscape is unprecedented, with Biden stepping aside in a manner never seen before. This moment calls for decisive action to protect the integrity of our democracy and the voices of Black voters. Wow, this is something the DNC did not expect. There's no way they thought this was going to happen. They were like, we're giving you what you want. We're giving you a Black woman. Why would you have a problem with this? I mean, yeah, we called her an Indian woman 4 years ago, or 7 years ago, but now we're calling her Black. While Joe Biden wasn't our preferred candidate, we cannot ignore the troubling actions of the Democratic Party. The DNC refused to host debates during the primary, even though a vast majority of Democratic voters wanted them. This would have likely allowed America to see the decline of Joe Biden in 2023. By the way, as I'm reading from the Black Lives Matter manifesto du jour, I just want to let you know, obviously BLM is like the biggest scam ever. I mean, the biggest scam ever. This is an agency which all they've ever done is taken tons of money and kept it for themselves. As far as anyone knows, like, it's impossible for anyone to track where the heck that money went to actually help any Black lives. So they are the ultimate scam artists. I mean, they are magnificent scam. Chef's kiss. Rasputin is like turning in his grave, like angry at himself that he didn't live in this age where he could have basically ripped off billions of dollars. It was certainly hundreds of millions the way Black Lives Matter has. So he is jealous of these three chicks, that's for sure. Try getting that song out of your head now. The DNC changed their primary schedule and created rules that made it almost impossible for non-Biden candidates to appear on the ballot, effectively clearing the field of any challengers to the incumbent president. Following the primary, where millions of Black voters weighed in after one poor debate performance, the DNC party elites and billionaire donors bullied Joe Biden out of the race. That is what they did. Now, Democratic Party elites, and we're going to talk about that soon because I have more on the whole bullying and the whole question about whether or not this was a coup. Now, Democratic Party elites and billionaire donors are attempting to manipulate Black voters by anointing Kamala Harris and an unknown vice president as the new Democratic ticket without a primary vote by the public. This blatant disregard for democratic principles is unacceptable. While the potential outcome of a Harris presidency may be historic, the process to achieve it must align with true democratic values. This is so weird that I'm actually agreeing with something BLM is writing. We have no idea where Kamala Harris stands on the issues now that she has assumed Joe Biden's place, and we have no idea the record of her potential vice president because we don't even know who it is yet. At Black Lives Matter, our focus on building strong communities, yeah, blah, blah, blah. We don't care about that. We do the hard thing. We will celebrate and honor the joy many in our community are feeling about Kamala's historic candidacy and path to nomination while calling out the undemocratic process and engaging in vigorous discussion on the issues our community cares about. We do not live in a dictatorship. Delegates are not oligarchs. Any attempt to evade or override the will of voters in our primary system, no matter how historic the candidate, must be condemned. We demand an informal virtual snap primary now that the incumbent president is no longer in the running. All right, I can't read the rest of this idiocy because how much time am I going to possibly get to them? That is great. That is great. I will bring this to you. Somebody was talking about whether this was a coup in getting Biden stepped down, and that's what BLM was claiming. It's widely reported that top Democrats threatened to invoke the 25th Amendment to remove Biden from office if he did not agree to withdraw from the 2024 presidential race, according to a Muse. If true, this would be a violation of 18 U.S.C. Code 371, criminal conspiracy to defraud the United States. 25th Amendment is intended to address genuine instances of presidential incapacity. If you're unfamiliar with the 25th Amendment, it basically is what gives the power to Congress to remove a president who's still alive but physically incapacitated. So the 25th Amendment is intended to address genuine instances of presidential incapacity. However, the purported threat by Democrats to invoke the amendment based on political motivations rather than actual incapacity constitutes a misuse of constitutional authority. The sincerity of their claim that the president was incapacitated is crucial. The fact that Democratic leaders were willing to withhold invoking the amendment if Biden complied with their demands indicates that they did not genuinely believe he was incapacitated. Otherwise, why are you not doing it right now? This means top Democrats conspired to commit fraud against the United States if Biden didn't accept their demands. Fraud involves intentional deception to secure unfair or unlawful gain, and in this case, the deception would be the false claim of incapacity. I love this. I really want to know what evidence I want to know what his source is to know that this threat actually happened. That's what I want to know. What is your evidence of that? Because if so, that was fraud. That was blackmail. And these people should be held up into the light for what they did. Because they basically were like, we're going to try and force him out, threaten him with the 25th Amendment. So what, you're going to you're threatening to abuse process? Or else he is in a terrible shape, in which case you should be removing him now. One way or another, your actions are inconsistent with each other. Not only did top Democrats commit criminal conspiracy to defraud the United States, but threatening a sitting president to achieve political ends also violates federal laws against coercion and extortion. Federal law defines extortion as obtaining something of value through the wrongful use of actual or threatened force, violence, or fear. In this context, the something of value could be Biden's withdrawal from the race, and threatened force could be the invocation of the 25th Amendment. This is exactly the sort of thing which anyone looking at it recognizes the truth of it, and it's exactly the sort of thing that the Supreme Court would suck at. This is exactly the area that if this went to SCOTUS, those three middle folks would join up with the left and say, no, the DNC was totally fine. We don't find this to be extorting. So this is never going to see the light of day. This is exactly the area where your institutionalist Supreme Court justice is going to come around and basically say, institutions be institutionalizing. Check out that quick play on words and the whole institutionalizing, talking about incapacitating. Yeah, but that's what they'd be saying. That's what they're saying. Yeah, Democrat, it's all politics. It's not really a law. It's just sort of, that they would give such a pass to this so fast and so hard. I have zero confidence that Chief Justice Roberts, Amy Coney Barrett, or Kavanaugh would go on would agree that this is considered extortion, even though a 5-year-old could understand this. Certainly, maybe not a 5-year-old, an 8-year-old. An 8-year-old can understand this. This is exactly the area. I'm positive that the Democrats would win on this 6-3 in trying to defend any claims against it. Beyond the legal implications, the ethical considerations of such actions are profound. 25th Amendment is a constitutional safeguard meant to ensure the continuity and stability of the executive branch during times of genuine incapacity. Using it as a political tool undermines its integrity and sets a dangerous precedent for future administrations. I can promise you, if there was an investigation and they found all this to happen and they brought charges, and I'm telling you right now, whatever issue there would be that would ultimately come to Supreme Court, if they were trying to prosecute Hakeem Jeffries, Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, or anyone else who was undoubtedly involved in twisting his arm and threatening him with this whole 25th Amendment's right out there. 25th Amendment could be coming. A lot of people have questions about your capacity. We really think you need to step down. Go celebrate the last 25 years of your life. Good idea. Step down. So you can definitely, I'd be shocked if these conversations did not happen. In other words, I think that this report is almost certainly accurate. And I am also sure that even if we had video of it happening, which there certainly is no video of it. But even if we had video of it happening, that none of these people would be held accountable for it, because this is exactly the sort of area where America sucks at actually disciplining and holding people accountable. This is precisely the area. Especially with the Constitution of the court as it is right now. So there you go. I wanted to get to the whole coup thing. I still haven't gotten to the other form of Kamala's thievery. I definitely want to get there before I wrap up here tonight. Don't worry, we're going to get there. I don't dislike people because of skin color, religion. I dislike people because they vote Democrat. Nice. You should. You should. Their stupidity is dangerous to America. Odds of Kamala versus Trump debate, I think very high. Very high. I think it's going to happen. I'd be surprised if it doesn't right now. He doesn't want to have it on ABC News. I think Kamala needs it. It's probably going to end up being on Fox. Can we watch Trump golfing today, considering the baby grandson Frank Sinatra feels appropriate? The baby grandson, the baby grand behind me over here. That baby grand. Some Frank Sinatra feels appropriate. Pew guy was performing maintenance on the building. It's so obvious. Yeah. Nathan shared with me a thing about the video from the roof guy, which I didn't know what y'all were talking about on that. I want to check that out right now before I go into that.
All right, so we don't know. So this is the guy that
yes.
All right, let's check this out. I'm going to have to come back to the second story about Kamala's thievery later, because there's stuff coming in here that I actually really want to watch this. I really want. This is the sort of thing like someone shared that if Nathan shared this with me off air, I'd be like, I'm watching this right now. So I have not yet seen this, but apparently it's got critical information. So I want to watch it with you. It's a 4.5 minute video.
All right, so we don't know. So this is the guy
yes.
This was filmed apparently at 7:08 p.m. on July 13th, if this timestamp is correct. So less than an hour after the shooting. Less than 1 hour after the shooting.
Yes, Beaver County sniper seen and sent the pictures out. This is him.
Okay.
Rifle right there, obviously.
Got it. So the bike in the back.
There's a backpack. I don't think that rifle would fit in the backpack. Maybe it would stick out.
Is he on that bike?
We don't know.
We don't know. So
I don't know.
Treating that as suspicious device.
Oh, 1 second. I believe the sniper that seen these and sent the pictures is right inside this building. Michelle, is Greg in there? All right, so if you go to that window that's open and yell for Greg, that's the sniper that sent the original pictures and seen him come from the bike and set the book back down and then lost sight of him.
Okay.
He's the one that sent the pictures out. I don't know if you got the same ones I did.
I think I did, yeah. He's like got his glasses on and he's
So we had the picture of that.
I got that.
Okay, and then this is his bike with the stuff.
It's interesting. It seems like you could see his leg here. It seems like they pulled his pants off. He was wearing pants, and when everyone was calling at him, he was wearing pants. Maybe they're trying to check to see if he had a bomb strapped to him or something. I don't know.
And our sniper seen him walking away from that, I believe.
Okay.
But he would be right inside that window. He's the one
He had
that's
shorts?
seen this, sent the pictures, and called it out.
Okay. So, and we have somebody detained, correct?
That I don't know.
Detained on this side. All right. Our guy that was just up here told me that there's a guy detained. He's the owner of the bike, and I said, no, that's the owner of the bike.
Basically,
We've been up here, so we wouldn't know that information.
we just hauled ass. We got over
Right.
it.
Got it.
We hopped up
No,
on
no.
it.
Yeah. No problem. Is that all your stuff?
That was one of our
Yeah. Yeah. So someone came up looking to treat him, and this. Okay.
Copy. Gas is off to the building, just so you know.
Yeah, they do. I talked to them. They were those people detained with filming. Maybe they were involved. Maybe they weren't.
Other than that, I haven't heard anybody.
Well, I think it's the guys that saw them filming were like, oh, they were filming us, and then filming the guy up on the roof, and then filming us, and then when the shots started firing, they tried to run away. That's not what everybody would do that has a phone. I'm not saying they weren't, but you know what I mean? Like that.
It's up in the air right now, right?
Right. So I got no problem detaining them. Again, I'm just trying to detain those guys, find out what they know, who they are, whatever. I'm trying to get clear information to relay back to DC. We have one shooter deceased. I think we have 3 victims in the crowd. Is that, you guys hearing that too?
That I'm not sure.
So I heard 1 deceased, 2 life-flighted.
I know 2 helicopters taken off.
Yeah.
I don't know how many
Hello?
victims.
3 are deceased.
We have access to the drone. Where this water tower?
Any LE?
Over the radio, I just heard them reference something about a drone, which I know that there was. One of the things that Chuck Grassley put out today was that there was apparently an unmanned drone that was flying around that the police were in control of on the day of the shooting that they want to get access to.
I will try to confirm.
In the van. Did he survive? Copy.
Okay, what you just saw was body cam footage of the roof right after the shooting at the Trump rally, Butler, Pennsylvania. Thomas Crooks was on that roof when authorities took him out, but you saw a law enforcement presence, including someone with a suit there that I'm assuming was Secret Service. Interesting that if it was Secret Service with that suit that you saw, the person with the suit, came after the fact when we heard from Kimberly Cheetle, the then director of the Secret Service, who said she would have put agents on the roof because it was sloped. Well, she's no longer there anymore. She resigned today. But it kind of gives you a perspective, once again, seeing the roof. It didn't look sloped to me. Seems like he was able to get up there easy. Members of Congress were up on that roof, 70-year-old. One of the congressmen from Florida, Carlos, 70 years old. He was on the roof. Everyone could get on that roof easy, right? So very, very interesting stuff. And if more body cam footage gets posted or shared, I will share with all of you on JLR Investigates. This is the go-to channel when it comes to this Trump shooting. We're trying to get an understanding and seeing things and behind the scenes and interviews and witnesses, and we want to know what's happened that particular day. Subscribe to my channel, hit the notification button. JLR Investigates. We will talk soon. Stay tuned.
So that was from JLR Investigates. I'm going to give a link to this guy because I appreciate him sharing this. I'm not trying to steal from him. Quite the contrary. I'm actually going to see if I can get him on. So I'll provide a link to this in the description. And incorporate that so you guys who are interested in checking him out. not exactly sure what information I feel like I gleaned out of that, to be honest with you. But I know everybody wants to know as much. We all want to know as much as we can about this investigation and what actually happened that day. So, to the extent I can help bring that to you, I'm certainly curious. I'm sure you are as well. And this is an event that's going to be remembered throughout American history. So, getting to the bottom of it seems like kind of a big deal. And thank you, Nathan, for sharing that with me. That was the helmet cam from the roof. Lab meat is why Bill Gates bought so much land. Oh, I don't even know. What is lab meat is kosher, I promise. I don't care. I don't care that it's kosher. Well, how do you know? Lab meat. No, stop it. Stop it. It's not Soylent Green. DeSantis signed a Florida law banning lab-grown meat. Now Disney is saying he banned vegan food at Disney as a result. You never heard about this? No. I'm staying. No. The only reason I ever read this stuff is for you. Not you specifically, Debbie, but for my audience. That's the only reason I read this. I'm like, oh my God. I get depressed from it. Honorable leader, I see you're big time now. Why else would you have a baby grand in the background? That's what it's supposed to be signifying to you, that I have reached the big time. The money stops here because Mayorkas sure isn't paying, that's for sure. You heard the nickname given to the failed assassin yet? Retard. Retardy Oswald. That's really good. That's pretty good. That's a pretty good job, Snuggle Struggle. The mentally disturbed won't commit to Fed entrapment schemes knowing they'll be laughed at and not memorialized in infamy. Oh, God. Bruce Rice gifting 10 good Lawgic memberships. Thank you so much, Bruce. I pulled this up. I saw this a few minutes ago and pulled up because I don't see who gets gifted. So, and I pulled it up too late. I apologize to you for that, Bruce, but I appreciate you helping bring people on board to the following, because the following is a group that really needs to expand considerably. Because at the end of the day, the following is about personal growth through community, unity, and leadership training. And everyone should be looking for personal growth. Those of you who are just gifted memberships, courtesy of the very kind Bruce Rice, I just want to say to you, please make sure you express your gratitude to him and say, thank you, Bruce, you're cool, because he is. And also, please remember that I'm not the leader. Everyone, just say it with me. Joe is not the leader of the following. I hope that was crystal clear. Crystal clear. God bless you, Bruce. Thank you so much. Incoming donation from Kamala to BLM. That would explain it. We didn't get our check. In a party where it really matters, Kamala will introduce with her pronouns, but never as African American. She's Jamaican Eastern Indian, ethnically identified Eastern Indian growing up. Yeah, she never once said it. Although I think there actually is a children's book about her that I saw, which was horrifying, terrifying. Like, it was just such a complete and total brown-nosing that it was disturbing about her from the time that she was a small child growing up until her trip to the White House that I'm pretty sure she co-wrote. And yeah, it was really, it's gross. It's very, very gross. So, and I don't remember how she identified in that. But hold on a second. I need to take care of something very quick here. Okay. Mark Zuckerberg reaction in response to Trump shooting shows changing political winds. I didn't see his reaction. What did he say? Oh, wow. That's pretty funny. Zuckerberg calls Trump's response to shooting badass. Cool. They want me to like pay, and that's definitely not happening. I'm not giving Zuckerberg money. Oh, yeah, I'm not giving Bloomberg money. Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg praised Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump's response to nearly being assassinated, calling his raised fist at the incident one of the most badass things I've ever seen in my life. In an interview with Bloomberg election. Oh, that was scary. Did you guys see that? There was like a little glitch there. Those of you who were watching a couple nights ago, you may recall that I had issues with my internet on Sunday night. I had issues with my internet on Sunday night where I glitched out for moments at a time. So I called them. They said they would come in this morning. The technician came down this morning. He said that they had moved the internet over and there was a wiring issue and he had to call someone else down here. And he seemed very knowledgeable, like really knowledgeable, this guy. Incredibly knowledgeable. And then I found out that, and he said they might need to do a whole rewiring here in order to fix the problem. And I was like, this is not cool. This is really not cool. I was like, what about if you just set up a brand new internet modem thing here, separate apart from the rest of the house? So I can just run my own thing. I'll take care of it. Just whatever it costs, just set me up so that it's running properly. So he's like, yeah, you could do that. We also need to send someone to fix down this first modem also. So he called that in. And then my wife called in to order a second thing. And they said, well, it's already in. So we're good. And a couple hours later, so now at 3:00, we're like, what time is this guy coming here? And they're like, there's no order for someone to come down. And she's like, they're coming down to fix the main one, but not to put in a new one. Anyway, long story short, understand that we were fasting all day today. So like my wife and I are like, dealing with headaches and hunger and all that other issue. No one cares about that. So the reality is that I call up and I'm like, what do I need to do to get someone down here to set up a second modem? So this way I don't have to worry about glitching and stuff like that. And so far, it's been pretty good. His suggestion was, he was talking to me, he goes, you're running only 50 Mbps, millibytes per second? That's like nothing. So I was like, really? He's like, yeah. He's like, normal would be like, it's like, if you're gonna be streaming, you need at least 300. So I was like, oh, maybe that's the whole issue, is that it's too slow. He's like, maybe. He's like, the guy said there's a wiring issue, but maybe your whole issue will be solved if you just have faster internet. So I was like, all right, hook me up with faster internet. So they did that. They hooked me up with faster internet. So now I'm hoping it's good, but not sure. That little glitch was a little scary, like my kid. Tonight's sort of like almost like a test run to see whether it's the speed of the internet or the wiring that's the issue. If it's the wiring, I'll get a new modem in here. But yeah, anyway, that's the upshot of what I've been dealing with over here and trying to remedy that situation from the night. All right, so Nurse Weezer says, did you see the short Alec Lace clip about Kamala from Fox Business? If not, I sent it to your Gmail. The other two guys' reactions are great. The female, not so much. So that was actually what I was taking care of before when I said I need to take care of something. I was sending it over to where I can have that pulled up here. Let's see. Oh, thank you for this. That's for you, Nurse Weezer. Let's see what you sent me here.
Yeah, and then there's the DEI press secretary telling you that the DEI vice president is the future of the party here. And so the future looks kind of dim for the Democrats here, but this is no shocker either. Kamala Harris, she's the original Haktua girl. That's the way she got where she is. And the party's going downhill if it's in her hands.
That was tough. That was harsh.
Yeah, and then there's the DEI press secretary telling you that the
She's not happy
DEI
with
vice
that.
president is the future of the party here. And so the future looks kind of dim for the Democrats here, but this is no shocker either. Kamala Harris, she's the original Haktua girl. That's the way she got where she is. And the party's going downhill if it's in her hands.
That was tough. That was harsh.
Yeah.
It is harsh. It is harsh. It is harsh. I'm going to tell you this. Do I like KJP? No, I think she's a liar. I think she's an obvious liar, and she stands there and lies for what she does for a living. Do I think that would I call her a DEI hire? No, I don't think I would. I don't think I would, because I don't think that she's out of her element in doing what she needs to do. You know what I'm saying? In other words, when I'm calling someone a DEI hire, I'm referring, to me, it's fair to refer to someone as DEI hire if they are raised up to a level to perform a function that they're not capable of actually performing as well as others because of their intersectionality. That's where the label DEI hire is appropriate. To be fair, I don't think she's any less equipped to handle it than Raggedy Ann was, right? I mean, both this the job. If you're going to be the press secretary for the Biden administration, you're going to need to lie and gaslight a lot. That's what you're going to need to do. Is she a liar? Yes. Is she a gaslighter? Yeah. Is she completely full of crap? Yes. Is she capable of doing the job of press secretary for the Biden administration? I think, yeah, she is. So in that sense, I think she's actually more capable of fulfilling her task than most people in the Biden administration. So I would not qualify her as a DEI hire. In contrast to Kamala, who clearly is ill-equipped for any job that she's ever had. So she is the DEI hire. So I don't think it's fair to qualify KJP that way. Was she hired because of her intersectionality? Yes, but she certainly seems equipped for the role. That's my point. So, yeah, I think that she's a gross person because of her politics and the positions that she embraces. I think she's a classic Washington, D.C. power-hungry lunatic. But equipped to be press secretary? Yeah, I think she is. It's just sad that that's what the press secretary duties are. Bill Gates bought tons of land in Florida to make lab meat. I'm not eating it. Oh, God, I don't even want to know. What makes it lab meat? What they're doing, what are they doing walking on a sloped roof? You know, that famous picture of let's see. This is what I don't understand about the whole sloped roof thing in general, okay? Kimberly Cheetle claimed that they could not go up there because it's a sloped roof, right? That's why they couldn't be stationed there. That's why they couldn't be stationed on that roof. It was a sloped roof. Hello, what is this roof? Is that not the exact same angle? Is that roof not the exact same angle? I mean, literally the exact same angle as the other roof. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. So really, we need answers to that. I was like thinking about the whole sloped roof thing, and I was like, wait, aren't they on the sloped roof in that picture that everyone saw of the people who supposedly killed Thomas Crooks, but were not actually supposedly? We've learned the shooters. It was someone else who did it. So So what is happening here? Someone walk me through this because I'm confused. Look up FBI 6-week cycle. FBI finds loaner and grooms them for terrorist guns and or dummy bomb. FBI swoops in to stop. Whitmer's kidnapping is one of these events. Trump getting shot, not part of the plan. Interesting. Interesting. The reason that's interesting is because this actually touches on another story I plan on covering tonight. So this is a thread that I was, at first when I looked at it, I was like, wow, wow, wow. And then when I looked back at it, I was like, a second time, I was less blown away by it and more like, and then you start picking it apart. It doesn't really, it's not really as mind-blowing. I'm specifically referring to this thread here, courtesy of Oversight, of the Oversight Project. Assassination info drop. We're gonna go through this thread real quickly here because this is something that I thought was really interesting. We found the assassin's connections through our in-depth analysis of mobile ad data to track movements of Crooks and his associates. To do this, we tracked devices that regularly visited both Crooks' home and place of work and followed them. Okay, that's interesting. That's really interesting. All right, so what do we got? Someone who regularly visited Crooks' home and work also visited a building in Washington, D.C., located in Gallery Place. This is in the same vicinity as an FBI office on June 26. They visit on June 26, 2023. Now, same vicinity is not the same thing as an FBI office. So let's be clear about that. They visited a building in Washington, D.C., located in Gallery Place. They don't show us which of these Gallery Place is, but that's where the Smithsonian is. Where is the FBI building? The FBI office. And if the phone is not visiting the FBI office, is the thought that they met? Is the implication designed to be that they met an FBI guy at the Smithsonian or something like that? I'm not sure what to take from that, but I'm just going through this thread with you. Another device linked to Crooks visited Plymouth, Massachusetts. Traveled to Plymouth, Massachusetts via Pittsburgh to Boston flight. Okay. Okay. We found a device linked to Crooks' work that traveled to Butler, Pennsylvania on July 4th and July 8th. This device stopped all activity on July 12th. Now, this is interesting. A device stopping all activity a day before is interesting to me. That's weird. The shooting took place on July 13th. Device stopping all activity on July 12th is interesting. We traveled to Butler, Pennsylvania on July 4th and July 8th. So that sounds like it could be some other phone, some burner phone he had, maybe? I don't know. But that one I found interesting. On August 3rd, 2023, one device linked to Crooks visit Allegheny Arms. Okay. Here are all the relevant locations within Bethel Park, Pennsylvania that are linked to both Crooks' home and place of work. I don't know what they mean by linked. I'm trying to actually go through this information in good faith to try and figure out whether or not, and the objective I'm trying to look at here really is, was he someone who was an FBI plant, potentially? Did they, did they play some sort of, Whitmer hoax thing with him or something? I don't know. So that's what I'm trying to see, if he was someone who was manipulated by the FBI. Because I'm sort of falling off there being a second shooter. I think that the evidence we've seen is very scant so far to support a claim of a second shooter. But I am curious to see whether or not he had some sort of manipulation from the FBI. For those that are tracking this type of data, we identified devices that were located at Crook's home and his work within the past year. There are at least 9 devices linked to these ADIDs. We're willing to cooperate with legitimate investigations and share further. For the protection of whistleblowers in our investigation, we will not be sharing further information with the Congressional Task Force due to connective tissue between that entity and FBI, USSS, and other entities. If you have further information, leads or tips, please email us. So yeah, was he tied to the FBI? To me, that other phone that they referenced is important. The one that shut down. I don't know what to make out of all these different South Park golf courses or Planet Fitness. I don't know what to make out of any of this. To me, this just seems like normal phone activity moving around. There's nothing crazy there. The only thing that I have no idea what Plymouth, Massachusetts flight is supposed to tell us. No idea at all. And his trip to Washington. It's not a lot of activity. It's not. I'm not ruling anything out. I'm just saying, one trip to Washington on June a year ago. I don't know. I don't know. I feel very confused. I feel very, very frustrated by the lack of information, probably like many of you. MTT's question confirmed he flew drone over the area. Yes, I saw her questioning. I actually was thinking about going through some of the questioning. Yesterday, there was the House Oversight Committee's interrogation of Kimberly Cheetle, where they were pushing her to resign. I will tell you that from that entire thing, and I saw that MTG did a pretty good job with him. I'm not going to kid you. Frankly, I thought that Mace was the strongest one. She was, to me, the most badass one out of all of them. In fact, I'm actually going to pull up her entire 5 minutes because she give her credit. She was very aggressive. I'm going to watch this real quick just so you don't think that I completely missed yesterday's events, because I did not.
Dr. Cheetle, the American people are watching, and they're wondering if there are any questions you can answer honestly today. So, Director Cheetle, I have a series of questions, very specific.
I want to see one where we can actually see her, because this is not good. Oh, we are going to see her. Okay. Fine.
Questions. I want very specific answers. Most of my questions are going to demand a yes or no answer. Do you understand?
I do.
I love that she framed it that way. That is such a great lawyer way of approaching it, where it's like, I don't want you dancing around. All these questions I'm answering, yes or no.
Okay, my first question. Both sides of the aisle today have asked for your resignation. Would you like to use my 5 minutes to draft your resignation letter, yes or no?
Do you want to start writing it this second? Right now, you can use my 5 minutes, and I'll give you all my time. Just draft your resignation letter.
No, thank you.
Was this a colossal failure?
It was a failure.
Yes or no? Was it a colossal failure is the question. Yes or no?
I have admitted this is a terrible.
This is a yes or no series of questions. Was this a colossal failure? Yes or no?
Yes.
Was this tragedy preventable? Yes or no?
Yes.
Has the Secret Service been transparent with this committee?
Yes.
Would you say the fact that we had to issue a subpoena to get you to show up today as being transparent? Yes or no?
I have always been
Yes
eager to
or no?
come
You didn't
and
want to
talk
answer the
the
question.
committee.
We had to issue a subpoena to get you to show up today. That is not transparent, by the way. You stated earlier, Secret Service is not political. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Would you say leaking your opening statement to Punchbowl News,
Whoops.
Politico's Playbook, and Washington Post several hours before you sent it to this committee as being political? Yes or no?
I have no idea how my statement got out.
Well, that's bullshit. So, Mr.
Oh my gosh. Oh my God. It is. Everyone knows it. How can you not know? It's on you drafted on your computer. How could you not know? How could you not know? That's ridiculous. That somehow, what is everything you're sending out from your print, you're typing up in your computer, ending up in the hands of the Washington Post and Politico? Really? Is it?
Mr. Chairman, I would like to ask unanimous consent to enter into the record articles by Punchbowl News, Political Playbook, Washington Post, all done at 5:24 a.m., 6:12 a.m., 6:34 a.m., a solid 3 to 4 hours before this committee got your statement.
Without objection to ordered.
Okay. Is the Secret Service fully cooperating with our committee?
Well,
Yes.
well, when you put it in air quotes, to be fair, you put it in air quotes. So in air quotes, they are cooperating, but not actually cooperating.
Okay, you say you're fully cooperating with this committee. On July 15th, this committee sent you a list of demands of information that we wanted. Has the Secret Service provided this committee a complete list of all law enforcement personnel that were there that day? Have you done that? Have you provided a list to the Oversight Committee? Yes or
I
no?
will have to get back to you on that.
That is a no. Have you provided all audio and video recordings in your possession to this committee, as we asked on July 15th? Yes or no?
I would have to get back to you.
That is a no. You're full of shit today. You're just being completely dishonest.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr.
Chairman, I want to.
Come on.
We have to maintain decorum in this committee, no matter how
have you provided
upset we
any
get.
and all memos to this committee that we've asked you on July 15th? Have you provided all memorandums within the Secret Service?
I would have to get back to you on
that. That is a no. You are being dishonest or lying. Like you're being dishonest here with this committee. These are important questions that the American people want answers to, and you're just dodging and talking around it in generalities. And we had to subpoena you to be here, and you won't even answer the.
By the way, speaking of talking generalities, she said, I don't have an actual real timeline that I can give you. How can you not have a timeline? I've given a timeline a week ago on this thing. How can you not be able to provide a timeline? This makes no sense at all. I mean, seriously, talk about coming in here and doing everything you can to not answer any questions. And Mace is spot on here. She done got maced. She done got maced.
Questions. We have asked you repeatedly to answer our questions. This isn't hard. These are not hard questions. Have you provided us all communications from the Secret Service related to that day and that rally? Have you provided this committee? We've asked for this information on July 15th. Have you provided any of this information that this committee has asked of the Secret Service? Any of it?
I'll have to get back to you.
Have you?
On July 15th, just to point out to you, the incident happened July 13th. So it was the first day Congress back in session. They're like, we are demanding answers today. We want answers today.
You even read this letter that we sent you? Did you even read this?
Yes.
Okay. And you have said you don't know, you have no idea. Well, the answer is no. We haven't gotten a single document or piece of information or data from you or your agency in related to the rally that we have asked you for. So was this attempted assassination of Donald Trump a failure of training or execution or both?
I think that those are answers that we need to
Training,
examine.
execution, or both? Which one?
I think those are answers.
All right. How many Secret Service personnel have lost their jobs due to this colossal failure?
At this time, none.
How many Secret Service personnel have been required to take a refresher course on how not to let people shoot Donald Trump?
Our personnel are currently
I love the framing of that question. I love the framing of that question. Yeah, listen to that question. Of course, on how to not let people shoot Donald Trump. Not shoot the potential target. No, we're really focusing. I love that. That was so great.
To this colossal failure.
at this time, none.
How many Secret Service personnel have been required to take a refresher course on how not to let people shoot Donald Trump?
Our personnel are currently operational. We are examining the facts of this investigation, and we will make the changes necessary.
What time did law enforcement become aware that there was an individual on the roof with a clear line of sight to President Trump?
I am still verifying timelines.
Of course, 9 days in, you have no answers. How many minutes went by between the time law enforcement saw and took photos of crooks and the shooting? How many minutes?
I am still verifying timelines.
57 minutes. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I yield back.
Gentle yield.
5 minutes of explosion.
Mr. Burleson from Missouri.
5 minutes of explosion from Mace. There you go. There you go. MTG was pretty good too. I thought Mace was, to me, Mace was should we do MTG also? That was so utterly brutal. Utterly brutal. You say that she flew a drone with it. We did learn that he skipped leg day. Joe Viva shares a long Rooftop clip with more info. Please play that one. Rooftop. I don't see that. I don't see a longer one. I don't know where he got that. Sorry, Denise. Did you see the story of Kamala voter that ran over an 80-year-old Trump voter and others sent you a link? Check DMs. TDS is real estate. Stay alert. Did I see... You guys are trying to convince me more shooters? Let me see.
Of your party.
What did you send me, Mr.? This was Mr. E shared with me. Okay, I feel like I'm getting sideverted here.
So what did you do to become the presidential nominee of your party?
Well, sometimes you just have to hawk Tua and spit on that thing, you know?
Nice. Nice. Kamala Harris supporter ran over an 80-year-old man in Hancock, Michigan for having a Trump sign in his yard. 22-year-old then killed himself right after. Elderly man is in critical condition at the hospital. They are deranged. Domestic terrorism from the left is the biggest threat to our country right now. It is. It is. Because imagine how crazy they're gonna become in November. Our mayor in Dallas announced the party flipped to Republican. Really? He became a Republican? Apparently, Dallas Mayor Eric Johnson, former Democrat, has spoke at the RNC. I was unaware of that. I don't think it's a new thing. He spoke at the RNC. So, Sheritard says we're going to see a Harris Willen ticket with the slogan, "This time she's on time." I like it. I like it. Kamala's DEI hire because Joe said he would select women of color. Yeah, no. Kamala is poorly equipped for the role. She's definitely a DEI hire. She is completely a DEI hire. I said KJP is not a DEI hire. There's a difference. There's a difference. Cars in Depth says, I keep hearing people say Republicans should mention Harris' relationship with Willie Brown's Willie. That will offend women. Are women that okay with using sex to get ahead? No pun intended. I think that I agree with you that I'm not sure which side of this argument you're taking. I don't think that attacking her as being having ridden her way to the top, literally and figuratively, is the healthiest way to approach this. Because she loses handily on her record. She gets destroyed on her record. With the powers that she's been gifted have shown how ill-equipped she is for this position. So why bother pointing out that she's DEI? Why bother pointing out that she slept her way to the top? Instead, just say, tear her down the way that Tulsi Gabbard tore her down, based on her record. And her record's only gotten worse since the primaries in 2020. Only gotten worse. Only gotten worse. She's had far more exposure, far more time to prove how utterly inept she is. I mean, she's a walking joke. So why risk alienating anybody by looking like you're going the low road and attacking her when the high road is so thoroughly dominant? Thoroughly dominant. Every failure from this administration, you tie back to her. The easiest one is the border, but it's very easy. Every failure from the Senate, that she's the president of the Senate, and they never went forward with the Mayorkas impeachment. And here he is overseeing Kim Cheetle, the bozo who was running our Secret Service and had to resign in disgrace. She got up there and has been defending Joe Biden as being fully capable, fully functioning, and gaslighting about how he's totally fine in all these different meetings. And even he had to step down because he recognizes he's not fit. She laughed about when asked, did you go to the border? When she's the head of the border and, and attacked for not going to the border. She's like, I haven't gone to Europe either. I mean, this is not a serious individual. She basically has displayed to us she's not a serious individual. She is so far from being capable of running a country that it's shocking that the DNC thinks that they're able to prop her up and have her look like something remotely presentable. So no, she is a DEI hire, and we don't need to basically talk about how she got into this position that she became their specific, that this is the one that became their DEI hire. It's not necessary. And I think it only risks alienating people with far too little benefit. Wait, why would the slope of the roof even be considered the building was determined to not be within the area of risk? No, apparently I don't even know. I think they say that it was part for the police to cover. They went through so many different stupid explanations. The slope on Glass Factory is much less posted photos to locals. I haven't been checking the locals. I haven't looked at them.
Welcome back to Break 50. And that's the thing in golf, this is why the challenge is.
fans shared with me an hour-long video here of Donald Trump golfing. I'm not sure why. I don't know what the deal is, Allegan. I'm not sure. I'm not watching that now. What else are you gonna hear? This is the other thing I showed. Save for the end of the show. I'll put it in my end. Okay. Pablo Zalaska says, if you have time tomorrow, watch the hearing from today, 7/23/24. Really more answers from the local police chief at House Committee on Homeland Security discusses Trump assassination attempt. She also says the shooter used a drone earlier to scope out the area. LESS did not have a drone up during the rally per the hearing today from the local chief, who's still waiting for information from the Secret Service. Well, they say there was a drone operator who was being paid that day, so I don't know. The gray suit guy from the ATF went on the roof and wanted photos of the dead shooter only. He wanted witness who saw the shooter's earlier actions detained only for questioning. Okay, hashtag mystery man. Barbados says shooter had a white van registered to him, was parked a short distance away, had a bike, a ladder in the van, rode bike to the grounds. It was towed the night of the shooting, saw video bomb makings in the van. That actually makes sense. Van with a ladder and a bike in it. That makes sense. And the explosions, the explosive devices. That makes sense to me. That makes sense. Thank you, Barb. Barb's answering questions today. Thanks, Obama. That clip was more of a dig at Kamala when he called her the original Hawk Tuah girl, although I agree she is a DI, total DI hire. Chris Ray appears tomorrow morning at 9. Does he really? Does he really? Why? Analysts really want to be subpoenaed by Congress so badly. They need to subpoena me. I have so many answers to give them. Anna Paulina Lewin killed her in her 5 minutes too. Should we check out Anna? I didn't see Anna Paulina. I saw him MTG a couple of times. I know she did a good job. Now, Secret Service urges Trump not to do outside events. Are they short-staffed or incapable to protect? That is crazy. That is crazy. I hadn't seen that. I hadn't seen that.
I will say that
I'm going to check out Anna Paulina also, just so you guys know. I'm still going to cover, by the way, the second form of thievery that Kamala engaged in. In fact, I'll probably do it right after this, because I want to make sure that I don't forget to do that.
it is very frustrating, and I've talked to my colleagues, and we've said it to your face, that you have been up here basically stonewalling our ability to get the answers to the American people. Every single member of Congress does not feel safe with you in charge. You have heard that, and I think that we are all sitting ducks with you in directing the Secret Service currently. We are not protected, and we are one of the strongest countries in the world, so you have essentially made us a less safe country. I also think that—
I don't know what's with this glitching, FPJ. That's FPJ doing that. It's almost like they're trying to turn her into Max Headroom.
Bring forward a full investigation and report in 60 days is unacceptable. Director Cheetle, can you please give me the names of the individuals who are in charge of your con-op for the rally?
I'm not giving you names.
I'm not going to release names.
Can you give me the
today.
titles? And how many individuals?
No,
Nothing?
We had a full advance team that was responsible for advancing
How many
the site.
people are the final approval authority?
There are a number of people
Can you
that
give me a
are
number?
engaged in approving
Can you
the
give
plan.
me a number?
No, I do not have
Okay.
a firm number.
Can you just confirm whether or not, I understand this is an open investigation, but in order to dispel conspiracy theories, have you guys been able to subpoena the shooter's Discord records, or has the FBI, to your knowledge?
I believe that the FBI is working on those.
Okay. Is it factual to say that you have not ruled out that the shooter was working with other people or persons?
Again, the FBI is conducting the criminal investigation into
Can
the
you,
shooter.
at least in an effort to dispel conspiracy theories, can you confirm or deny that?
At this time, we do not have that there were any other people engaged.
So you believe he was acting alone?
I do.
Okay. Have you been made aware of multiple eyewitness reporting that there was a second shooter on a water tower?
I do not have any information related to any second shooter.
Okay, the reason I asked that is because according to testimony from multiple witnesses, they did report that. And again, to my understanding, there were over 40 sniper teams that were briefed by the Butler ESU. And I want to make sure that people are aware, if you're saying that there's not another shooter, that we are able to clear that information, because from this whole entire briefing, it doesn't seem like much information has been able to get out to the American people. So I'm trying to dispel rumors, as I'm sure you understand. Was it true that Secret Service was present at the Butler ESU briefing?
There was a briefing between the counter sniper teams that were working
Secret
on the
Service
ground.
present?
Yes, to my knowledge.
Okay, I want to read you a report from people that seem to be throwing you under the bus.
Oh, this part was good. Yeah, this part is solid.
And stated that they were in attendance and that Secret Service was not in attendance at the security briefing, according to individuals with knowledge, to also include that the AGR building where the shooter Thomas Matthew Crooks was located was actually not a part of their security perimeter for that. So there was not Secret Service present. It seems as though that when you were asked earlier from Rep. Kristamorthy about whether or not Secret Service was aware of a threat, you had said no, they were unaware of a threat. And yet, according to communications, again, from law enforcement that were in some of these group chats, they actually had reported that Secret Service was made aware of a threat at around 5:59 p.m. as a part of the command, including Secret Service, aware of messages and requests about information about the suspect's location. Can you please tell me if you have knowledge of that at all?
Again, I think we're conflating the difference between the term threat and suspicious.
But you guys did have knowledge at 5:59 p.m. according to those group chats, did you not?
Of a suspicious individual.
Okay.
That was Kimberly Cheetle's theme all day long. He was suspicious, but not a threat. Suspicious, but not a threat. Suspicious, but not a threat. Which basically makes you say, like, at what point does someone actually become a threat? Because apparently he only was a threat once he started firing his weapon. That's the only time he became a threat.
In my opinion, according to some of the testimony today, I feel that you have perjured yourself in some instances. And so I'm going to ask for a full review of the transcripts by staff. And if you find that to be the case, I do ask that you bring perjury charges against the director. I will say this, it is very frustrating. And I've talked to my colleagues and we've said it to your face that you have been up here basically stonewalling our ability to get the answers to the American people. And what I will also say is that every single member of Congress does not feel safe with you in charge. You have heard that. And I think that we are all sitting ducks with you in directing the Secret Service currently. But more importantly, it sends a message to our adversaries that we are not protected. And we are one of the strongest countries in the world. So you have essentially made us a less safe country because of it. As a result of that, I'm asking you to formally step down. I share my same opinions as my Democrat colleagues. And I also think that your efforts to bring forward a full investigation and report in 60 days is unacceptable. And as a result of that, I'm going to do everything in my legislative toolkit to ensure that that happens sooner rather than later. And I'm sure that you know that we brought a vote on inherent contempt against Garland for essentially blocking a congressional investigation. And I don't think that you should be any different. So I will say that
we're coming after you. You're coming after your ass.
I am just completely disgusted by your performance today. And I understand that you're probably in a position where you're being told not to testify, which is why we had to subpoena you. I think that goes back to Garland. But again, that is part of the flushing that we need to get out of Washington. And I would be happy to assist in that process. Chairman, I yield the rest of
Merrick Garland, you attach back to the Biden administration and you attach that to Kamala. That's the thing. You know, the interesting conundrum the Democrats had was that, you know, they've been working so hard to gaslight that the Biden administration was a success. And I think they might have actually fooled themselves into believing that they can convince America that the Biden administration has been a success. They're continually calling it historic for stupid things like passing a bipartisan reconstruction bill that's like, build roads. It's like, wow, you are so amazing. Oh, so amazing. Like they seriously, for the smallest possible, how is that possibly a win type of thing? They trumped up those little molehills as if this is like they've climbed Mount Everest, so please ignore the multiple horrendous, terribly embarrassing, colossal failures, because we have all these successes that we're so proud of that make this administration historic. And I think that we've been hearing from hosts like somebody hosting from The View and other jackasses who are basically sitting here trying to pretend and gaslight the Biden administration has done a good job. Now, the obvious reason for this is because they want people to, think that he was electable, and they're desperately trying to pass that over to Kamala Harris. Here's what they seem to be ignoring, and that is America seems very clearly not to have bought it. And they think that Biden's failing numbers are attributable to his individual deficiencies that are attributable to age. Meaning, they're calling for him to step down and saying the only reason America didn't like Biden is because of that debate, which it's fascinating to think that Donald Trump is the first person in history to knock a president out of re-election in one debate. I mean, that's a phenomenal accomplishment on his part. Although, frankly, it's more of a reflection of just the complete implosion of Biden individually and his entire administration. But the point that I'm getting at is that all of these failures are attributable one way or another to Kamala. And they wanted so badly to find some pathway to the money. The war chest that Biden had amassed, and basically giving that as a legacy to the DNC's candidates, that they said, okay, look, we're going to get like $100 million, maybe $200 million extra if we make Kamala the candidate. Plus, she's got the whole intersectionality that the left seems to love. That should be enough to carry her. She's not going to be saddled by the physical and mental deficiencies of Joe Biden. And they completely ignored the fact that America hates the work of the Biden administration. So unlike a Gretchen Whitmer, unlike a Gavin Newsom, unlike any other candidate, Kamala is uniquely saddled by the failings of this administration because of her role as vice president. So I think that they're grossly underestimating the impact that the Biden administration's failures have on the mindset of the American people. Fortunately, I think she was the worst choice imaginable. The worst choice. I'm so pleased that they took it. And it does seem like delegate after delegate seems to be pledging to her, and they seem dedicated towards making sure that she is the chosen one. So much so that they're stealing money for her. What do I mean by stealing money? So when I'm covering this right now, I want you to know that I'm always very cautious whenever I'm presenting information I think you might not have. This is the second part. Finally coming now at a 2 hour and 8 minute mark, coming into the second part of Kamala's thievery. Before I go into this story, I just want you to know that whenever I'm looking at a story, I'm always want to know, okay, what is your source? How do you know this? What is your source? How do you know this? Because I don't want to ever, to the best of my ability, I want to avoid ever stepping onto something that could potentially be untrue. I never want to mislead you because I don't see the upside to that. I mean, the long-term upside. I'm not here for a 10-minute career. I want to be doing this for many, many years. And I know that your trust that I'm going to be presenting to you accurate information is important to that. So That's why I give you my source and I tell you, do with it what you want. Do with it what you want. So this is from legislation page, which I only heard of first today. This was shared by someone. Where did I get this from? I don't remember who linked to legislation page. Oh, I think it was Amuse shared this. And then I just went and they had tagged legislation page. So then I went and found legislation page. And they wrote, Justin, Harris campaign allegedly used ActBlue for a money laundering scheme. Reports indicate that $20 million from Swiss billionaire Hans-Jörg Weiss was broken down into over 1.6 million donations across 400,000 donors, raising serious questions about the legitimacy of these contributions. How do they do this so fast? How do they do this so fast? That in just a day, they can break up $20 million across 400,000 people. Obviously, it's a computer program that they have that's doing this. There must be someone who's designed a computer program that can do this. Similar allegations have surfaced before. ActBlue has faced scrutiny for its donor verification processes, which some argue may permit illegal contributions and foreign money to flow into American political campaigns. In recent years, the platform has been penalized for facilitating nearly $44,000 in illegal contributions, which is a joke. That's not anything. We're talking about many millions of dollars, not $44,000. And has been called out for not requiring standard security measurements like CVV numbers and online donations. Democrats at it again with dirty tricks to further destroy the integrity of our elections. And his source, so that's what he said. I was like, how do you know this? Who's making this allegation? He quotes Tony Saruga. So I was like, all right, let me see this Tony Saruga, what he says about this. And this is what he wrote. A Swiss billionaire who lives in Wyoming, Johann George Weiss, has ties to shooter crooks. What? Ties to shooter crooks? What? But also had ties to Maui Police Chief John Pelletier, who with the FBI covered up the Lahaina fires and was the commander of the Las Vegas mass shooting massacre. Okay, this is now starting to go into like 47 different directions. I was like, I don't even know what the heck we're talking about here now, all of a sudden. Now we're going into, but it doesn't stop there. He actually met with Las Vegas shooter Stephen Paddock in Paso Robles, California, multiple times over a 2-year period, also meeting 1 month before the Las Vegas shooting at an Indian casino in Solvang, California, Shumash Casino. He's illegally donated hundreds of millions illegally to the Democrats. And here's where he shares his tweet, which I couldn't find this tweet, which he put on 7/22/24, which was 2 days ago. I'm told Harris campaign is already using ActBlue money laundering scheme, $20 million from Johann George Weiss, known as Hans-Jörg Weiss, born 19 November 1935, a Swiss billionaire, and was broken down into over 1.6 million donations across 400,000 donors. Dirty, dirty, dirty. I'm told is that's an unnamed source. That's an unnamed source. I just wonder how they do this stuff and what your source of information is. And this is his follow-up claim. For example, it took me no time at all to find New Orleans resident named Cornelius Minot, who's listed as not employed, but nevertheless donated to ActBlue some 847 times between January 4th, 2021 and December 31st, 2022, so over a 2-year period, in amounts ranging from $1 to $100 for a total of $18,276.54. And here's the house listed at the address on those donations. We found it by looking up the address on Google Maps. Nobody lives in that house and is listed as not employed, has $18,000 to give ActBlue over a 2-year period. That's clear. So I'm here to bring this story to you. I'm not trying to make it less than it is or more than it is. But I was unfamiliar with this individual here, Johann Georg Weiss, or whatever his other name is. Hans-Jörg, or whatever his name. What was his other name? Hans-Jörg. I'm unfamiliar with him. Apparently, he's like some new kind of Soros wannabe. But I did want to share this with you because we do have, what we do know is this. We know that ActBlue has been compromised either willfully or through their own malfeasance or misfeasance. We don't know if I don't want to wrongly say that they're complicit, but we know that they have been compromised in the past. But look at these numbers, 1.6 million donations of like, $1, $20. And the left is constantly hailing how there are millions of people who, are pouring money in. I will say this, I cannot believe for a second that 1 million different people donated to Kamala Harris within 48 hours of her being, tagged as the next potential replacement for, I don't buy it for a second that 1 million people are like, oh yes, I am actually going to dig into my pocket and give money to Kamala Harris of $1, $5, $20, $100, whatever. I don't buy it for a second. Not for a second. And they do talk about the hundreds of millions that she's raised. And the question is, have they found some way? I mean, they seem to have found some way. We saw from the reporting that James O'Keefe did, where he went around to different houses and asked people, did you donate 300 times over the last 2 years to this? And he's finding these old people are like, I don't know, I never did that. I never did that. And it seems like other people are just sending in that bits of money are coming in, and they take a big chunk of money and they break it into tiny amounts and then claim it's in the name of this person at this address, and that person has no idea that the money's has gone out. None of it. I don't think they're stealing the money from these people. Let me be clear, in case there's any confusion. I think it just is reported that it's coming from this person when they're not actually making the donation. Because in this way, it helps build up the campaign as if it's something that is some groundswell, instead of it being some billionaire who's propping up and doing things very corruptly. So, do I believe that something like this is possible? 100%. Am I fascinated by how they do it? Yes, definitely. Do I know that this actually happened? Definitely not. I don't like the anonymous, I spoke to people that when I'm tracking down this story and it gets recirculated and recirculated and recirculated. I don't want to be part of the recirculation process. I'm not going to allow my channel or my voice to be used in that way. So that's why I'm sharing with you. This is what the sources are. This is what they are saying. To me, they sound credible, but I definitely would not say that, oh, this is definitely what happened, because I don't know that this is what happened. And the lack of having credible sources or a citable source should throw some shade on the credibility element to it. And it's important to me that we're talking honestly about the claims that we're making about the other side, rather than becoming part of some spin cycle type of thing to try and, tell you what I think you'd want to hear. So, yeah, I think I've laid out everything there in a way that you all can understand. I think so. If not, I don't know how else to spell it. Basically, sounds feasible. I don't know that it's true, and I question. There are reasons to question its credibility. None of it would surprise me at all. But this way, this is what people are saying, and this is who's saying it, and this is the level of support that they're giving to these stories. These are the shortcomings of living in a post-truth world where we never know what's true and what's not. Honestly, I believe Rachel Dolezal is more. Maybe. SCOTUS has asked New York to reply to Missouri versus New York. Thank you, Steele, for sharing that with me. That's interesting. Missouri versus New York is where Attorney General Andrew Bailey from Missouri is claiming that he wants to have the convictions set aside. Sorry. Oh my God, I actually said convictions. I'm talking like an idiot. I'm talking like an idiot. He wants the verdicts set aside before they become convictions, which that's scheduled to happen on September 18th. So he went to the Supreme Court saying that that was an entire political issue. How do you expect this vote for women which they're unable to define? These are fascinating questions, which is why the left relies on people not engaging in critical analysis. Lauren, you're not supposed to be thinking. Stop your thinking. Okay, Lauren? Here you go off wandering. They told you what you're supposed to believe. They told you what you're supposed to know and what you're supposed to spit back. And here you go off on your own thinking you're some big hot shot who's going to start critically analyzing things. What gave you the right? That's not what they want you to do on a plantation. Kamala's benefit if she can imagine what can be unburdened by what has been, not to mention her love of school buses and Venn diagrams. She is fascinating, yes. Tim Burchett called SS Director a DI nightmare. It really is. It really is. Wins because the bar is answering all the questions. You wrote this 14 minutes ago. What was I talking about 14 minutes ago? So it'd be what I was talking about 15 minutes ago. Now I'm curious. Let me go back in time 15 minutes. That was when I was talking about, I was covering Luna. Wait, what was I saying? This is like they climbed Mount Everest and the wins of the Biden administration. See, that's what happens. Let's go back in time and basically look at what I was talking about. Yeah, so I said KJP is good at her job because you're answering all the questions. Okay, all this is now coming clear to me. I keep thinking about the man who died. Family should sue the DOJ for trillions of dollars. I want to see Majorca squirm like a worm. Yeah, Mayorkas. Quality cardboard and sticky paper carnations rule. This is an old school comment. You're OG. You're OG, choosy heretics. That's an OG comment right there. The story I haven't told in like 18 months. Maybe 2 years now. Sticky paper and cardboard. I bet they're VP NFTs. Oh, nice. ActBlue and FTC has database of donors. Pick a few, make small contributions, and no one will check. That's essentially what it is, but not a few, but like hundreds of thousands. You don't know where Tony Segura gets his data? Read his X profile. All right, let me read his X profile. What am I supposed to see here? Big data pioneer, Intel ops, CIA, NSA, contractor, whistleblower, CRE, philanthropist, healthcare, M&A. I don't know what to make out of that. My partners and I have been lifetime data scientists. We own the digital ID of every mobile device computer in the US. I've indexed and archived every IP address in the world. Our extensive experience in big and deep data, including geo-tracking and geolocation, makes our dozens of data companies the top authority providing data to corporations, law enforcement, U.S. government agencies like CIA, NSA, DLD, as well as Interpol and foreign intelligence organizations. There are a number of videos documenting these Ghostbusters, as well as a number of mostly nondescript DOJ vans that dropped off ninja-wearing individuals that appear in other videos that breached the Capitol, cutting fencing. When did he write this? November 15th, 2023. Documenting these Ghostbusters as well as a number of mostly nondescript DOJ vans that dropped off ninja-wearing individuals that appeared in other videos to breach the Capitol, cutting fence, removing barricades, opening doors, and other nefarious behaviors. We also tracked the infamous J6 pipe bomber from one of these vans. Later, we eventually tracked them to a Virginia metro station where a perfect capture of their vehicle license plate was made. The FBI has all this information. Shortly after they were alerted, however, AT&T mysteriously accidentally corrupted that and only that particular cell phone user's data. Additionally, the mobile device was used hundreds of times before, and after J6, access and keycard required DOJ, FBI parking garages and buildings. Okay. So you're saying he actually has access to information? Maybe. I'm not, like I said, everything he's saying makes sense. I'm not, but it's frustrating. It's frustrating to be like, you know, when he's like, bro, trust me. I'm like, okay. It's easier to trust because he's saying things I like, and I try to be cognizant of when I'm doing that. That's all. Like I said, I'm not saying he's wrong. I'm not saying he's lying. I'm simply saying the credibility takes a hit and you can't share a source. That's just reality. Better question is, why aren't they donating to you? These are great questions. Why are these ActBlue people not donating to me? Let me check my DMs. What am I looking for, Lauren? Oh, okay, yeah, I just read that out. Thank you. All right. Yeah, a couple of closing notes for you guys before I get out of here. I really covered most things already. Covered most of this. Covered the new body cam. Ah, yes. This is interesting. Okay. This is something that the GOP is doing that I'm not crazy about, because I think it's theater. This is theater. Just in, Representative Andy Ogles introduced articles of impeachment against Vice President Kamala Harris for high crimes and misdemeanors. Why? Why? This is something I keep arguing with you people about. You're like, well, they did to Trump, so we need to do it to them. All of a sudden now, when she's the presumptive nominee, now we're bringing articles of impeachment. This stems from her handling the board and upholding the Constitution, not fulfilling her duties as VP. Are Republicans finally fighting back? This is not fighting back. The Senate's not even going to take it up. I think this is theater. I think this is theater. Well, you know, she's not going to be removed. The Senate's not going to vote. Hey, it's like, is she a bumbling clod? Yeah, 100%. Should you have brought this a long time ago? Arguably, I don't know. But incompetence has never been. You can also argue back and say incompetence is not a high crime or misdemeanor. Gross incompetence is not a high crime or misdemeanor. And frankly, I do think that she's grossly incompetent. So I'm not really a fan of this. I don't like it. I think it's just, hey, we're the good guys. We're on your side. Vote for us because we're going to come and try and embarrass people on the other side. I'm not a fan. It's a waste of time. I guess to the extent it's wasting Congress's time, that's probably a good thing because our legislation sucks. But this is just theater. This is the right virtue signaling to its constituents. And we're the good guys and they're the bad guys, and we're going to try and bring impeachment. It's cheesy. I know not all you are going to agree with me. Some of you are going to be like, no, we need to do this. No, we need to do this. I think it's cheesy. I think it's really, really cheesy. I don't think it's a good look. And it's definitely not going to do it's not going to succeed. So it's just a bad look that doesn't succeed. What are you gaining out of it? Learned from Nick's show last night that the Old Testament condones polygamy, and that according to the Old Testament, polygamy, polytheism is justifiable. Agree? No, not polytheism, certainly. Polytheism is not acceptable. Polygamy under Torah laws is acceptable. That's true. And the rabbinical authorities banned it roughly 2 millennia ago. But polygamy was acceptable under Torah law. It was eradicated by rabbinical decree roughly 2 millennia ago. So maybe 1,500 years ago. Not sure. Finally, in our Why We Should Hate Kamala Harris moment of the night, listen to her answer about health care. This is what she wants to do to you.
Just to follow up on that, and correct me if I'm wrong, to reiterate, you support the Medicare for All bill, I think initially co-sponsored by Senator Bernie Sanders. You're also a co-sponsor on it. I believe it will totally eliminate private insurance.
Eliminate private insurance. You are stuck with your government insurance.
So for people out there who like their insurance, they don't get to keep it?
Yes, that's true. They won't. You won't. You get no chance at it. You're not allowed to have private insurance. Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's essentially it. Let me tell you why that's a good thing for the government to have complete control of your life. She's about to try to explain that to you. This is what she's about to explain to you. Why it's good for the government to have complete control over your health insurance.
Well, listen, the idea is that everyone gets access to medical care. And you don't have to go through the process of going through an insurance company, having them give you approval, going through the paperwork, all of the delay that may require.
Paperwork. That's the reason you should be happy about it. You don't have paperwork. We're taking care of you. This is how this machshefa is trying to sell this. You don't have to who wants to
Who of us has not had that situation where you got to wait for approval and the doctor says, well, I don't know if your insurance company is going to cover this?
Oh, no. Oh, no. Some people have to deal with the question of whether or not particular procedures are going to be covered by insurance. Oh, no. Instead, I want the government to take care. This is the same group that says, keep the government out of my uterus. No, keep them out of my uterus and give them my entire body. What utter freaking hypocrites. Keep them off my uterus. Keep them off my uterus, but let them have complete control of my health. What the hell are you talking about?
Let's eliminate all of that. Let's move on.
Keep out of my uterus, take my entire body. What utter jackasses. Stay out. Yeah. No one wants your freaking uterus. No one wants to be inside your uterus. No one wants that at all. Nobody wants access to your uterus. Especially most of the people who are screaming about it. Trust me. Plural is uteri? Is it it's got to be, right? Plural of uterus must be uteri. And I noticed that the uteri of most of the women screaming, keeping your hands off my uterus, usually are pretty safe from anyone invading there. But putting that aside, the irony of the left in one breath screaming, keep your hands, I don't want the government just making decisions for my body, and at the same time screaming, no more private insurance, let the government decide my health insurance, is so utterly contradictory that it shocks the mind. It shocks the mind how they can twist and contort their own stupid senselessness into pretending that there's any sort of logic behind it when it is barren of any thought at all. It's barren of it is so obviously self-contradictory. Keep your hands off my uterus, take care of my entire body. You're saying that's the same government. It's unbelievable. It's really unbelievable. What the hell's wrong with these folks? Breck Nichols says, Joe, I hate paperwork. Kamala 2024. There you go. There you go. They're the group for you. Barb says that the Secret Service supposedly contacted Trump campaigns at rallies in buildings, not outside, but no official statement has been put out. Just a rumor at this point. Trump hasn't even commented on it. Okay. I'm gonna land my plane over here. It's time for me to wrap up. Tomorrow I'm gonna try and make sure I start on time. Because after my show, I do plan on. I'm probably gonna be joining Nick Ricada tomorrow night. That's what I have set up. Anyway, not here. Tomorrow I'm gonna have a regular show. I'm probably even going to start early tomorrow because I do think I want to cover live Biden's thing. So maybe I'll have an early show and then join Nick late at night. We'll see what happens. But I'm going to have a regular show tomorrow. Like I said, it may be early. You can find me at goodlogic.locals.com, goodlogic.locals.com, so you get the actual start time. See whether I'm going to end up being live for Biden's press statement. Good chance. Very good chance. Very good chance. Not positive. Very good chance. I have to make sure I don't have a family commitment, though. It might be a family commitment. It's either tomorrow or Thursday. I need to check that out. Anyway, you'll find that at goodlogic.locals.com. One thing you won't get at goodlogic.locals.com is any sort of pressure for you to eat the bugs or lab meat, whatever the hell that is. And with that, I say to you, good night and Godspeed.